All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to Bleav in Rams, part of the Bleav Network. Erin Coscarelli back with you. Be sure to do all the things I tell you each and every week. Subscribe, comment, rate, follow this podcast. You can catch us on Bleav TV. You can follow us on all the socials. We are on the up and up. And of course, we have our favorite guest, Tyler Dragon. He covers the NFL for USA Today. First and foremost, Tyler, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's Victory Monday for the Rams, so they're doing good too. How are you doing, Erin?
Victory Monday for all of us. A big win, their first win, and an impressive win, and an impressive coaching performance from Sean McVay. He managed to keep his team within reach. Of course, didn't have Cooper Kupp, didn't have Nakua, a handful of offensive linemen. We've talked about it all week. And they ultimately pulled off a huge victory against the Niners, who'd had their number in years past. What did this win tell you about the Rams?
Well, first of all, I have to apologize to Rams fans, Sean McVay, and players because last week it was like a doom and gloom podcast, and I predicted 49ers to steamroll the Rams. I didn't think the Rams had a chance, so I have to personally apologize to all Rams fans for that. I was wrong, and the Rams were right. They were the better team on Sunday, and it was a very impressive win. I mean, it was a comeback win. Matthew Stafford's 36th fourth quarter comeback victory in his career. I Bleav that's fifth in NFL history. So kudos to him. And Sean McVay, I mean, what an impressive job he did. I mean, the Rams and the 49ers, for that matter, were shorthanded. But for a Rams team without their two best receivers, a patchwork offensive line still, and for them to be down 14 points in the first quarter, and then down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. And I mean, let's be honest, I was at the game, a partial 49ers crowd at SoFi Stadium. And then to come back and win that game, it was an impressive victory, a victory that can turn around their season. And, they could have better fortune going forward. I mean, they still have to battle some injuries, but this is a win that, can rally a team going forward, especially versus a divisional opponent, not just any divisional opponent, the representatives of the NFC in the Super Bowl and a Super Bowl caliber 49ers team. So huge win for the LA Rams in LA yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot in that. Their backs were against the wall. No one thought the Rams were going to win this game. It didn't matter if it was at SoFi. Like you said, 49ers fans, they show up. I'm sure it was a sea of red at SoFi, and that doesn't make it easy, I'm sure, for Matthew Stafford and company. But just to see, and that was a big question mark I think we had. How was Sean McVay going to adjust without his two wide receivers, with a patchwork offensive line? In your interpretation, obviously we saw a lot out of Kyron. How did you see Sean McVay? I think that was, to me, the biggest thing I wanted to know was, how is this team going to look different to keep up? Even though, the Niners had a lot of injuries as well. How was Sean McVay going to chess play this matchup against Kyle Shanahan? And in your interpretation, what did you see that the Rams did? I mean, obviously they capitalized on a lot of mistakes the Niners made. I think the Niners had 7 penalties for over 110 yards. It just seemed like the Rams caught that momentum, took advantage of it, and certainly you saw how the game ended. In your interpretation, is this seemed like a must-win game, and is this sort of a blueprint for what Sean McVay may do in the future?
Yeah, you're exactly right. They capitalized off the 49ers' mistakes, and then they ended halves well. You look at the end of the first half, they had a fake punt that was successful in getting a first down. And then the second half, late in the fourth quarter, they were down, came back, they capitalized off the 49ers' missed field goal, scored off that. Then an excellent punt return that led to a game-winning field goal. So, you look at the way they were able to execute and end halves with momentum. That was huge in their victory. And going forward, X's and O's wise, when you don't have your two best receivers, Sean McVay did a really good job of establishing the run. Kyron Williams had 24 carries in the win. He didn't reach over 100 yards, but he had 89 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 in the air. So you really utilized probably your best healthy offensive player. And I do think going forward, you have to lean on Kyron Williams because he's shown capable of being a workhorse running back and a pass catcher out of the backfield, and then be opportunistic on throwing the football. Tutu Atwell had a really good game. That long reception that led to points, that was a huge catch by him. He's a good receiver. He knows how to separate, and the Rams could utilize his speed. His speed gives opposing defenses problems, and you saw that against the 49ers. Their secondary had a tough time containing him, and he was able to break the top off of the defense, Sunday against the Niners. So I really do like what I saw. And then defensive side of the football, they got after the passer. Byron Young had a sack, 2 tackles for loss. His stats aren't eye popping, but he was wreaking havoc in the backfield and creating a lot of pressure, and his impact went beyond the box score because he jumped out to me. Against the 49ers, just his impact, creating pressure and being in the opposing team's backfield and getting after the quarterback.
Yeah. Kyron did it through the air. He did it on the ground. We knew they were going to try to focus on it, but at the end of the day, their offensive line was a big key component to whether or not they were going to be able to manage the game. And it just seemed, of course, at the end, LA outscored them 20-3 in the final 20 minutes, give or take. And let's not forget, you guys, this seemed like such an important game and such a challenging game to have to go into, third game of the season, missing all of those guys. They're 0-2. McVay had never been 0-2, clearly, obviously never been 0-3. And it just seemed like this, if they lost to the Niners at home, a hole that they may not have been able to get out of in the event they ended up losing. And let's not forget too, you guys, I think this loss is San Francisco's 3rd loss in the last 12 matchups against the Rams. So it seemed like it was just not going to end well. I mean, it seemed doom and gloom for media, and I think even the Rams players were feeling that. I think even Kyron after the game mentioned it seemed like no one thought they had a chance to win against, of course, like you said, the NFC champion, the champions in the NFC. And the other thing is, not only did they have penalties, the Niners had a lot of dropped balls. I want to say Brock Purdy, even though he completed 22 of 30 passes, he dealt with 6 drops from receivers. So it just seemed like the Niners didn't have it together coming down to SoFi. It just seemed like you mentioned, that the Rams were able to capitalize on some of the mistakes the 49ers don't typically make, right?
Yeah, and you have to, attribute that to the Rams too, because the 49ers were down some of their best players. Christian McCaffrey's on IR, George Kittle was out, Deebo Samuel was out. So the 49ers were relying on backup players, and those backup players did not step up. To the contrary, the Rams were relying on backup players too, like a Tutu Atwell. He stepped up. He caught the passes, and he, took advantage of the opportunities that were given to him. The 49ers did not. Outside of Jennings, they really did not have a receiver threat, and Ayuk, of course, but nobody else came up to the party yesterday for the 49ers. So, those drop passes, they hurt the 49ers. But, on the other side of the football, the Rams, they were playing hurt too. So the Rams aren't feeling sorry for the 49ers without a Debo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey, because they were without Cooper Kupp, they were without Puka Nakua. And those backup players stepped up for LA. And that's a credit to Sean McVay having those players ready to play football
Yeah.
on any given Sunday. Every coach talks next man up
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Rams really personify
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
against the 49ers.
Yeah, yeah, that exactly. Next man up mentality. It just seemed like Sean McVay did a better job at getting his next man up mentality. To me, on game day, in terms of preparation, and that's exactly what it seemed like you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. It'll be really interesting to see how the rest of the season pans out because, yeah, I mean, we don't know. When we had Dr. David Chow on, he mentioned both injuries to both wide receivers can have lingering effects potentially. And you may not want to rush the guys out. So Puka could be back week 8, I believe. But who knows how he'll be,
Mm-hmm.
and needing to get these guys ready that may not have been starters previously is obviously a notion to how good of a coach Sean McVay really is. And I think we learned that the Rams can win without their
Mm-hmm.
top 2 wide receivers in the game. Here's another question that I have for you because next we have Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
They travel to Soldier Field. They face a Bears team that just lost to the Colts, and are now 1-2, which is interesting because I believe the Niners are now 1-2. It's odd that all of these teams. It seems like right now it's just there's a lot happening in the league that's very unpredictable,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen the Rams be behind before, and obviously last season was a testament to what they can do when people sort of don't think that they can get it done. How do you see them traveling to Soldier Field? How do you see this game panning out in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued with
Yeah.
this game because both teams, as you just said, are 1-2, and their season can go either way. This game kind of hangs in the balance with their season. A Rams team that, yes, we all know they're banged up, but Chicago, they're still trying to get acclimated with their rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. He's going through some rookie growing pains, had a few turnovers in their loss against the Colts, and their passing offense still needs a lot of work. Their
Mm-hmm.
offense in general. Chicago does have a good defense. That should give the Rams some problems. But how are you going to manufacture offense without your 2 top receivers? The Rams did it yesterday. They utilized Kyron Williams. Tutu Atwell made huge plays. They're going to need the same type of recipe in Chicago, which is going to be a hostile environment. They're going to be playing
Yeah.
outdoors, which is going to be a little bit different. Luckily, September in Chicago is not too bad. It won't be snow, won't be rain. You don't have to deal with the Windy City weather. But this is going to be an intriguing matchup because really, when I look on paper, these 2 teams are kind of evenly matched, especially the Rams down, a few of their best players. But they have the more experienced quarterback, and that should bode well for LA. They have the better running back in Kyron Williams
Mm-hmm.
coming off an exceptional 3-touchdown performance, and a defense that should be motivated and playing with
Yeah.
a lot of confidence after beating the 49ers in week 3. I expect Byron Young to have another good game and get after the quarterback and create some pressures up front. So this is going to be an intriguing matchup, and
Yeah.
I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like this game against the Niners was a must win in my eyes because it
Mm-hmm.
gave them the momentum and the juice and the optimism to say, hey, we know we're down and out, we're missing some key guys, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not over yet.
Right.
And I think that perspective, especially in the NFL, like you said, any given Sunday, actually is the impact of how some of these games end. If you're down and out and you think you can't win, obviously your mentality is so important in this. And yeah, now they have the juice to go after Caleb Williams. Let's keep an eye on that defense. And that defense is going to be hungry. They feel like they still have something to prove. And going up against a rookie and Caleb Williams, even though I went to USC, it's like they want to show what the reason of why they were so highly touted as rookies themselves in Verse and Fisk and the rest of the guys that are trying to fill the void. Let's not forget, Aaron Donald is not in the building. He is not in the locker room, and that is an impact. So the Rams defense, in my opinion, just like the offense right now, everybody feels like they have something to prove. And this next slate of games, they go to Chicago, then they play the Packers, then they have a bye, and then they have a home game against the Raiders. We may or may not get Puka back in time. It's going to be interesting. Do you think this beginning slate of games is ever more important for the Rams with the position that they're in right now?
Yeah, because this can change the course of your season and can give you momentum, or it can put you in a hole, insurmountable hole that you can't recover from. And you really want to try to be above 500. And then who knows what could happen when you get your 2-star receivers back and win games that are definitely winnable on the schedule. Against a Bears team, this is a Bears team. Caleb Williams has been sacked 13 times this year. That's top 5 in the league.
Wow.
He had 4 interceptions. That's, again, one among the highest in the NFL. So you have some opportunities to get after the quarterback and create turnovers. And this is a game that you should, by all intents and purposes, win on the road. And that can be huge because each game that you win, especially in a division like the NFC West, where most teams are 1-2 outside of the Seattle Seahawks, who are 3-0. So you want to try to keep pace with the Seahawks and want to try to keep things competitive in the division. And then when you get your stars back and get healthy again, you might have a playoff team on your hands. But for now, you got to win the winnable games, especially against a rookie quarterback in Chicago.
Think about that. That's such a great point. And then I'll let you go. I mean, if they're able to win, remember, guys, last week, that 41-10 loss against the Cardinals, Sean McVay called it humbling. Okay. So now they're rejuvenated. They're back up and running. Potentially, we will see how this Bears game goes. But absolutely, like you said, when those guys come back, I mean, it could be a very scary team. If they're able to sort of get business taken care of, move forward, stack some wins, and then when those guys come back and are healthy, I mean, it's scary. It could be really scary for opposing teams to come and face the Rams. So hope is not lost. I think a lot of Rams fans were very worried. Tyler was also maybe possibly one of those worried individuals, as was I. And I think, honestly, it seemed like the writing was on the wall. It seemed like, how could Sean McVay possibly make this work? And again, it's just a testament to how smart, how clever he is. And we'll see how this goes in the future against a Bears team that's also feeling like they've got something to prove as well.
Yeah, so to end this on a positive note, I'm picking the Rams to win against the Bears. I'm going to have a score prediction 23-20. I think the Rams are going to pull it out in Chicago, Erin. I really do.
Yeah.
Give me your score prediction.
Yeah. I think that they win. I think they win by a field goal. But you make excellent points in the weather. And that it is a very, hostile environment at Soldier Field. So I don't think it's a commanding win, but I think they win by 3. I think Tutu scores a touchdown. We see a touchdown from Kyron. And, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe a few sacks on Caleb as well.
Okay. See, I'm trying to get back in the good graces of Rams Nation.
I think you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. We want you to be honest. We want you to be honest and authentic. But I think you're right. I think pulling off a big win in Chicago is likely. It's probable. And yeah, and I look forward to having you again next week. Thank you for your time. We know how busy you are. You cover all of the NFL, so we are really grateful you take some time to chat with us about our Rams. Thanks again, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Of course, love talking Rams football. Have a good one.
Thank you.